It is April 30th, 2019. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. SmackDown Live. Tonight might be the official confirmation that the WWE has stopped trying when it comes to weekly television. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. Joining me is Matt Morgan and Raj Giri, who thought, well, this was just a regular average Raw. Whereas for me, I think they actually took SmackDown, where they actually took my advice and they actually got an artificial intelligence computer to write the show for them. Because I swear to God, we've seen all of this stuff before.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like WWE programming has been on cruise control. It's not just this week, but it's been for a while. I think it's really starting to hit now. Raw getting their lowest non-holiday rating ever this past Monday. There's a lot of warning signs. I feel like it's coming to a head, but they're going to be making more money than ever at the end of the year. So, how much of this are they actually going to take seriously and make changes, or how much of this is them just going to wait it out and then at the end of the year they'll be like, hey, look, we're making tons of money, we're doing something right, and they'll focus on the positives and stop talking about popularity going down, live event attendance going down, the ratings going down, and focus on how much money they're making per quarter.
The thing that scares me is that they always blame the talent is what ends up happening. They don't change their structure. They don't change their formula. They don't change really much of anything. The only thing they change is releasing a shit ton of wrestlers.
Yeah, which it looks like they're not going to do that this time around.
Yeah.
With let's be clear. This is the best roster they've ever had, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I bite my tongue and I delete tweets all the time because I say I don't want to be too negative. The talent that's working there, especially in the ring, is the best it's ever been, and I don't want to crap on them because they are giving it their all and doing the best job they can. But when I look at what we saw on TV tonight, absolutely interchangeable with other episodes, other storylines, other builds, interchangeable with Raw itself this week. And the one opportunity they had tonight, I thought they actually kind of took Bayley down a notch by having Charlotte interfere the second after that match ended, after Bayley tapped out so quickly to the disarmer. Why not finish that match, have her go toe-to-toe with the champ, put a pin in it, and save her for a future opportunity to face Becky again, as opposed to having her punk out quickly and then Charlotte attacked anyhow?
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, Bayley's not in their plans, I mean, I think that's clear. She's already, since she's moved to Raw, she's lost both times, right? She's had 2 matches, lost both.
Corey Graves said she has momentum.
What's that?
Corey Graves said she has momentum.
Yeah,
people like the match against Charlotte.
I'm all with you. I think they should be. When you look at the women's side, who do you got as far as top women? You need to be bringing some people up. And Bayley, now that she's got a little bit of a change, you can build on give her a little momentum since she's moved, a little fresh coat of paint. But instead they beat her 2 weeks in a row. And as soon as fans start seeing you at that level as just someone who just gets beat whenever, it takes a lot to get out of that. And Becky was in that hump for a long time before she managed to break through with what was supposed to be a heel turn. So,
a couple of pay-per-view victories against somebody that's superior to you or more over than you can always remedy it, but why put yourselves in this position to begin with? Why put her in positions where she's losing?
And
right. You could have her beat anyone else. They got so many people on the roster.
And if they paid attention at all, Bayley versus Becky was what the majority of people online were looking forward to tonight. We haven't seen that since NXT.
I was. Yeah.
It's an opportunity. So if you're not going to take, and Bayley's going into Money in the Bank, make her formidable competition. Compared to a lot of the other women there, I think her and Natalya are the veterans. Natalya obviously has the most experience, but Bayley, Alexa Bliss, I mean, she's one of the upper stateswomen of the WWE at this point in the locker room. I think, I don't know, I think she should have not lost so clean to Becky, especially with Charlotte attacking afterwards and beating her down. She seemed like a missed opportunity.
Yes.
But tonight, it's just, I don't, that's Matt, to your point, I don't like being this critical of the product because I like the talent that's there. This is, Tom Cassiello, one of the former writers, was saying on Twitter, be careful what you wish for. People were calling for Road Dogg's head for the last year. Road Dogg not actively involved in SmackDown week in and week out.
Very sharp at that. He is such a good, he's so creative.
Yeah. It's Vince McMahon. I mean, Vince McMahon is the problem. He's the majority owner of the WWE, majority stock. You know, there's no ousting him. And I think fans have to realize that this isn't about some creative white knight that's going to come in.
Who the hell is asking for Road Dogg's head?
No, I know. He quit. Road Dogg quit.
No, he did. But I'm saying on Twitter, people, when they grumble, because Road Dogg was associated with SmackDown, it was a name. He was the one during the Bludgeon Brothers. People bitch, you know.
Yeah, you know, people go after the writers when they you know, they forget that the real problem is that
they forget SmackDown's 1,000 times better than Raw when he was doing it.
Well, I think again,
it was 1,000 times better.
It's been a lot better, but you know, people when they complain, they often don't accuse the right. You know, they don't go at the right people.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I'll take a bad SmackDown over this week. I'll take the Bludgeon Brothers standing in a swamp, swinging their mallets, because at least it's something different. You know?
Yeah.
It's not.
I feel like we haven't seen much different on WWE television in a long time. It's formulaic. It's the same playbook that they've been using forever. And you know, case in point, the opening segment with Kofi Kingston.
Oh,
he just
my
got
God.
a vicious beatdown last week, and he comes out throwing out pancakes, you know, all smiling and happy. And then he cuts a promo trying to act mad. If you're mad, you shouldn't be going, you know, stopping by and getting pancakes to throw to the fans on your way to the arena.
That's a superstar question that he should have brought up to the writers or the producers. Say, hey, look, I'm in the moment right now, going back to last week and what happened. I got my ass handed. Everybody got jumped. This guy turned on us. Yeah, maybe we should have seen it coming, but it doesn't matter. The point is, I'm pissed the F off. You know, why the hell would I come out throwing these?
These are pancakes of rage this week.
They've got to see Fifth Gear Kofi tonight. That's who they need to see, and that's what I'm going to give them. So I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm not throwing the pancakes.
Yeah, I mean, go like how WCW used to do a lot of times, where the wrestlers would come out in their street clothes without music, you know, and just being intense and pissed. You know, have Kofi out in his street clothes, not with the neon gear and not smiling and just pissed.
Away from it. You're right.
Yeah, and have him be like, look, I want Kevin Owens, you know, I trust people. Kind of the same promo, but angry without talking about the big moment at WrestleMania. He wants Owens, and he wants a street fight or no holds barred match, you know, with Owens one-on-one, and make it intense as opposed to the formulaic stuff they do week after week.
And then Owens comes out. Owens cuts this magnanimous promo, recycling the B+ player thing. Oh, I just don't think you're at the championship level. It's like, why is he showing so much respect for the guy? Why is he being so kind?
I thought he was going to turn. I thought he was going to turn on that promo, KO, by basically saying, you get a great magical moment. You're in the ring with your family. WrestleMania moment. The fans couldn't have been more excited. You had the WrestleMania moment. I thought he was going to say, and I'm pissed the F off because that should have been my moment, not yours, Kofi, mine. And you stole it from me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Talk about, I debuted here in the WWE beating up John Cena, beating him in a match. You know, just talking about everything he's done. I felt Owens put over Kofi so much. Owens didn't put himself over in this promo.
Not just that, he's the heel. He should have been like, you look, Vince McMahon brought me back to put me in the world title picture. And then you snuck it and took it away from me. You know, like, because Vince did bring him in, you know, to be in the main event of Fastlane. So you play off that story. Yeah. That's a heel move. He was expecting the stuff to be handed to him. Yeah. Kofi took it, and now he's pissed, and now Kofi's pissed, and it should be up the intensity. Make it
yes.
You know, and think outside the box a little bit. Don't have them wearing their gear all the time. Do some stuff.
Definitely that. But as far as the verbiage goes, that's not Kofi's fault. They wrote the promo.
Right.
And you could tell they tried to sandwich 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, if you will, by getting the promo in one more time and what it meant to him to win the championship, to be with his family, have him in the ring, along with, oh, yeah, by the way, sell the match versus KO as well. Like, come on. You can't do that.
Yeah, right. I mean, or how about some fire that I had to fight so hard for this opportunity? I'll be damned if I'm going to let anyone take this title away from me after everything I went through to earn it. You know, I just didn't see that he was standing his ground even with this. I mean, they could do so much with it. Xavier Woods interfered. He got, or he attacked Owens. He got beat up by Owens.
He got beat up for it. I like the touch by Kofi when he said, I don't know if you heard him. He's like, I told you guys to stay in the back, and I'm supposed to be out here. I like that.
Yeah. I like the second half of Kofi's promo. I thought it was just the first half where he's, you know, talking about how proud he is and how great the WrestleMania moment was. Forget that. That was weeks ago.
I don't know why they comboed those two together.
Yeah, just be the piss part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then we went to Bayley versus Becky Lynch. Competitive match, went a couple minutes. But yeah, Becky got her in the disarmer. Bayley tapped out instantly. And then right after, when it was being announced that Becky won, Charlotte attacks and really went after Bayley hard. So they're keeping Charlotte versus Becky built up. Bayley was announced as in the Money in the Bank match. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like with Bayley, she's really got to do something to distinguish and define herself now that she's been split up from Sasha, the way they lost those tag team titles at WrestleMania. I think this does not make Bayley look like strong competition going into Money in the Bank.
No, nothing you said is wrong.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
So then we got Alistair Black backstage.
I didn't like this.
Yeah.
I love him. I just didn't like what they were, how they set this up. The setup of it felt lazy.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. I like the idea of doing vignettes with Alistair Black. You know, he's a cool character.
You should do some cool shit with him. That's why, Raj. What was that?
Yeah, he's using verbiage that's not cool. That someone like him should not be using. Like the match is gonna be in my favor. Who says that?
Nobody says that. The poor guy being stuck reading off a script. But the thing I didn't like was the all black background. Like, this dude has like coffins and crosses and all these cool things that you should be utilizing to really set him over the top, right? Because he is so cool. Yeah. And they don't use any of it. They just use black.
Yeah, have some smoke, something.
It doesn't make sense. This dude's like we get the supernatural vibe from him. Give us some of that.
Yeah, this should have film promos. I'm glad Bray's hosting his kids show.
Yeah,
I think
they're doing anything non-formulaic right now.
Yeah, so with Alistair, this guy, you could do some really cool stuff with him. Why are they so set on shooting this stuff with the most generic, low-budget background? This is a $1 billion company. Put some goddamn production value into these promos.
Yeah, he's a character that's not like any other. He's different. He's unique. Accentuate that. Make him seem like a larger-than-life star. That's WWE. We're going to talk about Brock Lesnar. They're lacking larger than life personalities. And unless you book someone to be larger than life, people are going to see him that way.
In the vignettes, when you have someone special with an original character and gimmick, this is where you beat people over the head with it. You beat them over the head with that branding hammer. And the brand is Alistair Black, supernatural, death, whatever the hell you want to call it, shtick that he's got going. There's so much to choose from to put in that vignette to set him apart. Think of Undertaker. Think of all these other types of supernatural type of gimmicks that we've seen over time. Plus he's a foreigner. Plus he's world class. What is he? Kickboxer. Like, I hope they don't get to that layer of his onion for a couple years, like showing him his training and stuff like that, because that's somewhere to go at least. But they need to start. They need to keep him right now with the die stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because it's cool. I think it's awesome. It's a refresh, a reset button on. I hate to keep saying Undertaker, but
I know
it feels like
every analogy I want to make is still Undertaker. But it's to what we always say with Becky and Steve Austin. She's not Steve Austin.
Right.
Alistair Black's not Undertaker. Right. But think of how you would book those guys. Think of how you'd present them.
Those vignettes with Taker, like, why can't we do that with him, with Alistair Black, but in the year 2020, 2019.
Right.
And here's the funny part. Look at the age we're living in. Matt, you shoot a lot of video on your phone. Look at all the stuff on YouTube that's out there that's made by complete nobodies you've never heard of before. Mm-hmm. All it takes is somebody caring to put the time, effort, and energy into it. It's not even a money thing. It's an effort thing.
The company's gotten lazy. I mean, they're sticking to their formula. They're not getting away from it. People keep saying AEW. People got to remember when WCW started to get hot, when Hulk Hogan came in, WWE, they at the time, they were still being lazy. It wasn't until Nitro went head to head that that's when they started the Attitude Era stuff and when really started to pick things up. But they remained lazy even when Hogan was there and Savage was going and all these guys.
They were.
Yeah.
You were having, Bret Hart versus a pirate was the stuff they were pushing back then.
You're right. Not many people remember that, but you're right. It was still kind of stale at the time.
Yeah.
They were just about to get to the precipice, but they were only pushed into the precipice because of Nitro kicking their ass with some reality shot angles.
Right.
And, we didn't talk about this last night, but Cody Rhodes, that promo he cut about wanting to kill the Attitude Era, on this week's
awesome.
Being the Elite. And that was low production value. Low production value. That was a simple black background shot, but they did it dramatically. His delivery was spot on. You have to have one element, right? It's either what you're saying has to be straight fire. The way it looks has to be real. I mean, ideally it should be all of these things. But what I'm saying is when you're just giving generic words with the generic production, nobody gives a shit. Nobody pays attention. You know?
I mean, that style of promo, I'm a big fan of. I'm not one of those guys that's praising everything AEW is doing, you know, because they haven't done a show yet. But that promo where it's a lot of realism, it brings you in. It doesn't sound rehearsed. It sounds like it could be real. I'm a big fan of those.
Yeah, and Cody knocked that out of the park. One take. I mean, that was just beautiful. Absolutely. And after this, we had the Hardy Boys come out. So as predicted, Jeff Hardy is injured. He was using a crutch. He's going to be out for a while. The Hardys dropped the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And they didn't announce what they're going to do to this. Really wasn't about that. This promo wasn't about the tag team division at all on SmackDown. They turned it and made it into a Lars Sullivan promo talking about Lars destroying them a few weeks ago on SmackDown. They really built this up.
I liked it. I liked it because it did get Lars even more over. He looked like a killer in there, especially with the no sell of the chair shot to the back. He looked badass tonight. His music is badass too. Another example of production, when done right, could be pretty cool. Something as simple as entrance music. I thought they've been shitting the bed for years on their entrance music with certain stars, you know, and I always thought that was so important. I always thought pyro was important too. But I know they stopped doing the pyro. But as far as music goes, his music is spot on for his character, I think. It's pretty sweet. And what he did in the ring was really, really good. You know what I mean? He got over big time, I thought, tonight.
Yeah, I thought this probably was the highlight of the show, really, in a lot of ways. You're building a young talent with Lars. It's newsworthy because the tag team titles are being vacated. I don't know if AOP are ready to come back yet. I know they're getting close.
Where are they?
Which Akam?
Got hurt. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's been injured, but it's been said that he's ready to return soon. So if they were ready, I thought this would have been a cool night to switch the tag team titles over. Show Hardy injured backstage. They were injured by AOP. Matt Hardy has to defend the title by himself. So they squash him quickly, win the titles, got a new formidable tag team with the titles. But again, I don't know if they're ready to return yet.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what they announce for the SmackDown Tag Division. It's in complete disarray right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they just unify the tag belts.
They might as well. I mean, you got B Team.
They should.
B Team and Nakamura and Rusev are the two strongest tag teams right now.
And the clones are backstage going, now's our time. We're coming back.
Yeah.
Win the titles and sell you a timeshare. So R-Truth got involved in this with the chair. Lars no-sold the hit. And then beat up R-Truth as well. So is Lars Sullivan in a feud with R-Truth right now?
Kind of seems like it.
Huh.
I'm sure they'll do a squash match between the two at Money in the Bank.
That's a perfect speed for him, too.
Yeah, exactly. He's someone that has name value, but fans like, and do a quick match, a showcase for Lars.
Yep.
You don't want to put him with the big dogs right away. So
no, he cannot.
No pun intended.
He cannot sell at all right yet.
Yeah, he's still got ways to go. This is a good way to ease him in, especially after the issues he had in his call-up. I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this episode, which is Wix, W-I-X. Over 140 million people use Wix for their website. You can start and publish for free. And when you're starting there, they have over 500 stunning templates, or you can start from scratch. Wix allows you to change, customize, and add anything you want. Add your own text, images, videos, get hundreds of design features and apps to grow your brand online. All Wix sites include SEO tools. Everything is automatically optimized for any device. No more worrying, how does it look on desktop? How does it look on mobile? Wix has everything you need, all the tools you need to create the website you want. I used it last year for a political campaign. Raj's wife used it for her business. You've heard us talk about it. All Wix websites look amazing. And you don't have to know how to code. You don't have to know how to get in there from scratch under the hood and build this thing from the ground up like Wrestling Inc. is. Oh, it's held together with toothpicks, Band-Aids, and Raj's spit. Wrestling Inc. And old spit, too, because what, Raj? You've been working on this 20 years now.
It's been revamped many times, but I've reprogrammed the whole thing probably 6 or 7 times over. But yeah, I'm, at my age, 43, I'm getting tired of coding. So something like Wix, I wish it was around back in my day. And like I said, I'm not only they're not only a sponsor, but we use it. My wife has been using it for a while now for her Yoga with Anjali yoga business. Works perfect. Never have had any issues. Never have had to contact support. She made it in hours. It looks awesome, and it works on all devices. So it's an amazing technology.
Raj, how could fans, and I'm not just trying to plug this because it's your wife's gimmick, how could fans check that site out to see a good example of how someone using it?
Sure, it's yoga with Anjali, ANJLI.com.
I'm actually gonna check that out.
And I want you all to look at all those gray hairs in Raj's beard. Those are the gray hairs you earned by coding manually, having to learn HTML. Oh my God. Think of all the time you've missed with your children. They've grown up not knowing their father because you've been busy coding, building this website. Don't be like Raj, everyone. Here's what I want you to do. Go to wix.com/podcast. That's wix.com/podcast. Check it out. Give it a try. You can get started for free. And when you use that URL, you're going to get 10% off when you upgrade to a paid plan. Wix is so incredible. If you've got a business, if you got an organization, a youth league sports team, you want to do a political campaign, you want to do something for a hobby, a fan site, wix.com, wix.com/podcast. We thank them for sponsoring Wrestling Inc. They're going to save you time. They're going to save you money. They're going to save you energy. You're going to get your life back with wix.com/podcast. And we thank them for sponsoring Wrestling Inc. Oh, what else happened tonight? Asuka and Kairi Sane went against 2 enhancement talents. I guess they're out of women's tag teams to assert their dominance within the WWE. They still do not have a team name yet. Asuka and Kairi Sane came out with Paige.
Why do they have to time out? Why do they have to have a name?
I like when they have a name. Don't you like when they have a name?
No, not these two, because they're 2 singles acts being put together.
Well, but they're being treated like a team, though.
And they dress like it, and that's cool, but it's temporary. They're both single stars, and the Kairi Sane will be a huge one, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope it's more a temporary thing, because I'm with Matt. Kairi Sane, I think, is just a superstar, and I think having Paige as her manager, keeping Paige with her, I think that's money. Because we know how Vince gets when the talent doesn't speak fluent English. They're doing the lame ass promos,
and that's not the reason I don't want a tag team name for him, because it's going to be something super offensive. You know it will be. You know it will be.
Oh gosh, some people in the chat have some suggestions, which I'm not going to repeat.
I'm just saying, if you're a fan of cringe comedy, like Veep's back on. I like a good cringe comedy. Yeah. Vince gives us that in real life.
I love me some Veep. Veep is awesome.
Yeah. So just imagine, everyone, think to yourself the names Vince could come up with for this tag team and chuckle at how terribly misguided and outdated it would be.
That's probably good that they don't.
Yeah. But no, they went against enhancement talent. Do we know who the enhancement talents were, Raj?
I do not. I was around that time this news about Brock Lesnar was breaking, so I kind of missed that.
Stay tuned to Wrestling Inc. to find out who the enhancement talents were. I thought they did an okay job. The Iconics were on commentary for all of this. That was something.
It was. This was an opportunity for them to shine, too. Anytime you get an opportunity on commentary is a big deal, I always thought, because you get such a great opportunity to get your character over. You can just force through the entire time they're out there talking, trying to call the action. You can just talk right over them and do whatever the hell you want. You get in trouble for it, but you could technically. I didn't think the girls seized the moment.
I find them when they do their promos, I find them pretty entertaining a lot of times. But when they start getting too loud, it gets to a point where I can't listen anymore. I just want to mute the TV. But when they're not over the top, I find them to be pretty entertaining. But this was one of those times where I wanted to mute the TV.
We'll see. I'm assuming Money in the Bank, Asuka and Kairi Sane are probably going to win these belts from the Iconics.
If they want to make those belts mean a single thing, that's the way they should go.
So speaking of teams, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose were backstage, and they were saying there's only one spot for one of them in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match.
Can I just say before you start, how professional those two look in that backstage segment? Did they both not look like superstars?
They look great. I'm surprised they're not pushing them more as a women's tag team. I'm assuming
the way they
maybe
were dressed, the type of clothes they wore looked very. I don't know if they were or not, but to me they looked really expensive. Something that stars would wear. Do you know what I mean? Like they looked like, in my opinion, two really big female stars.
when they came out, what was it? Was it last week or the week before when they came out and they were wearing the coordinated outfits? I mean, I thought they looked like $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I'm assuming one of them is not winning Money in the Bank, but I think they could get a strong push being a great feud against Asuka and Kairi Sane after Money in the Bank.
Yes.
You know, so what did you think of this promo, Matt, of each one of them wanting the other one to be in the match? But Sonya, I mean, it's funny because on paper, Sonya obviously is the one that should be in this match. I thought, what a sell from her and saying it should be Mandy to take that spot in Money in the Bank.
I thought it was good. You didn't like it?
Yeah. No, I liked it. I just thought, I mean, come on, Sonya is obviously.
I didn't get it. What did she mean that she should be in that spot? They're both in the spot. So why are they even arguing that point?
They're both, I thought only one of them is going in the Money in the Bank match.
Well, they announced all the competitors. Let's see. I thought they were both in.
No, it's Ember, Carmella, Mandy, and Bayley.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. So okay, so that does make things interesting. So probably something where Sonya, does this and Mandy doesn't pay it forward and it leads to something, or WWE forgets about it in a week or two, which is more likely.
Mandy's the bigger star, but potentially between the two, don't you think, Glenn?
The
other one's work is a little better because she you know what I mean? She has really, really sweet, badass looking kicks, but Mandy is the whole package. I mean,
yeah. But if you're trying to stand out right now, I don't think now is the time to pull the trigger on Mandy when you've got Charlotte challenging Becky on one hand and you've got Lacey challenging Becky over on Raw. I think with Mandy, sleep on it a little while longer.
Okay. I see your point on that.
That's not her decision, but yeah, and Vince has a type. So
yes, that he does.
But Glenn very politically correctly was saying is being satisfied right now.
Yeah. But Mandy will be, in that fold before Sonya is what I'm saying. Sonya, I think, is super talented, has a cool look, needs to work on her promos and her delivery. She's it's just kind of flat, and I'd like to see her work more on that. Yeah.
I think both of them have potential. I think both of them have bright futures in the WWE. They just have to put them on the right track to achieve that. Then I can't believe this. Okay, so Roman Reigns came out to the ring, talked about making a first impression, talked about being on SmackDown, interrupted by Shane O'Mac. Shane is the villain in this now. Shane pulling double duty in addition to his feud with The Miz on Raw. Shane talking about, I'm going to make it so difficult for you, Roman, here, because you've got this match coming up against Elias and Money in the Bank. And saying he's going to face the B team, who came out as sort of Shane's muscle. He's going to face them in a 2-on-1 handicap match with Elias as the guest referee. And as they went to commercial, we got the sell. Can Roman Reigns overcome these odds?
You didn't buy it?
As I said on Twitter, the man beat Brock Lesnar, Cancer, and Drew McIntyre in recent memory. I think he can handle the B team.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, come on. I hate saying that because I think both those guys are super damn talented.
They are. But with Roman, this is the problem before. This was the shitty booking that got people to boo him in the first place. And now they're squandering this goodwill that real life circumstances have earned him 1,000 times over. Mm-hmm. They're just going back to he's the ultimate underdog. It's like, no, this guy is made.
That was well put.
Yeah, I have no problem with him beating the B team. He should be beating them. He should be squashing them almost. I mean, the match ended up being good anyway. It wasn't great or anything, but it was good for what it was.
Plex.
What's that, Matt?
Got to see a perfect plex.
Yeah, you got to see the perfect plex, and I thought it was what it should have been. But for the announcers afterwards to be like, Roman did it again. He overcame those odds when he beat the B team. It's just like. Ugh. Yep. The announcers are going to make, and I'm sure that line came from Vince, but the announcers are going to make the fans turn on Roman again.
You have to escalate this. The McMahon should be downright evil. I mean, not to draw the comparison again to Cobra Kai, but think back to Karate Kid 3. They straight up tried to murder Daniel and destroy his business and do all this really evil stuff to him. And the McMahons are like, oh, you're facing the B team with Elias as a guest referee.
Yeah.
This is not insurmountable.
Right.
No, it's not.
I'm just saying up the stakes or change the tone. But they're trying to
get rid of the overcome the odds bit for him.
Yeah, it's silly. It's stupid and it's completely unnecessary.
Just do. They didn't need to have that match tonight. They could have just done. They could have kept Roman. You want him on TV as much as possible if you're SmackDown because you want people to tune into the show. They feel Roman's the main guy, the hood ornament. So it would make sense for them to want him on more than one segment. But if we're just talking about what's best for Roman Reigns and his character, I would argue they should have just kept it to the promo. And then that's it. He didn't need to wrestle tonight. There's no need for it. And then keep his heat with the McMahons be the center storyline between them because at least they're not going to turn on him. I don't think they'll turn on him with his beef over as long as he continues to stand his ground to the McMahons, especially Vince, and getting little zingers in on, Richie Rich Shane McMahon like he did tonight, that the crowd all like oohed over, like that's going to keep Roman fresh.
And this is where also doing some stuff where you're preparing for next week, building some suspense and anticipation. If they would have done what you just said, Matt, and said next week we're going to have, a big challenge for you or something. We're gonna, something. We're gonna have something you can't. We're gonna have you face two people that haven't been on SmackDown yet.
And it was the B team.
Well, still, at least it gets people wondering.
It would have been like ECW fans would have thrown flaming garbage into the ring.
No, they won't. They're so conditioned to stuff like that now that But at least you build something for the next week. And it gives you something.
I think why not take a page even from this Luke Harper story and, Shane McMahon being like, I own you. You work for the WWE. Go, mop toilets. I don't know, something, Don't let him go into the ring. Don't let him cut a promo. I mean, up the stakes on this. I just think this has gotten really silly and they need to find a way to make it fresh.
Well,
what's up with Luke Harper? Is that true now that they're just keeping him?
Yeah. They're keeping him. They extended his contract for the time that he's out. So I guess it's March of next year that he'll be under contract until. I would guess that they'll probably use him. I mean, it's their call now. If Luke's, decides not to show up, they can extend his contract even more.
And he's still got to show up even when he's not on TV. Still got to travel city to city.
I don't believe he was at SmackDown last week, but yeah, I mean, if that's part of his contract, if he wants to fulfill his contract.
Matt, did you have a lot of that? I seem to recall you didn't spend a lot of time in catering.
No,
you were used
on the show, luckily.
Yeah. That would be demoralizing in and of itself, having to have that travel grind.
Big mind F is what it would be.
Yeah, no, poor guy. So this 1-on-2 match, Roman overcame the odds, somehow managed to pull out a victory against the B team, even with Elias as a special guest referee enforcer. Then we saw Firefly Funhouse again with Bray Wyatt.
Happy to watch it again.
Why do they cut to the arena though to show everybody looking confused?
You're right. They shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, because we've all been to TV tapings in the crowd. Like when you're watching those promos, that's not exciting. But nope, they show that on TV. So we saw that, and then, hey, if you liked how they opened Raw last night, we had 4 guys that are going to be in the SmackDown side of Money in the Bank. Ali, Finn Balor taking on Andrade and Randy Orton. Before we talk about that match, what do you think about these 4 to represent SmackDown and Money in the Bank, man?
Okay, right? Yeah. I love Ricochet.
Yeah? I'm surprised they didn't go with Alistair over Randy Orton.
Orton had star power, though. Alistair Black's not there. Yeah, he is there. It does seem like they're trying to build him up a little bit with these vignettes. Why put him in a match if he's not going to win yet? So, put people in these Andrade, Ali, Finn. They can lose. They're not. They've already been brought down to, the mid card level or upper mid card.
Hey, I don't mean
they're going to make it exciting.
I don't mean to be rude because I forget. You guys see the tweet I tweeted about? I hope Ricochet wins. Promos. He's the most exciting guy to watch. Who was the guy I was responding to? He works for Wrestling Inc.
Yeah, that's Nick Hausman. Or
Nick. Sorry, I know. Yeah, I know Nick. I don't know why I forgot his name, but I was responding to him because he was like saying how he thought what's his name would be a great win. Ali.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
He's probably a little biased on that.
You guys can see him being a world heavyweight champion.
Again, I think Nick's a little biased because Nick has worked with him in Chicago independent wrestling. But no, I think Ali
is super talented. But
yes, with the right story.
Yes, he is. But I mean, look what had to happen for Daniel Bryan to get that, right? Look what had to happen.
Yeah, you're not telling me if it's just one-on-one match, Ali versus one of the bigger guys, that he's going to win. But if you tell the right story with it, I could see it.
I mean, really, most of these guys, if you push them the right way, and if you had Ali get a bunch of wins, did more of those cool promos like they did last year. Remember one week where he's in the street and it was like this gritty cell phone promo. Did more different stuff with him.
That was cool.
Maybe, but right now where he is, I'm with you, Matt. I don't see it. But then again, I don't see Ricochet either. I'd love to see Ricochet, but with how he's been used, they quickly moved him down the ladder to where he doesn't seem like potentially a larger than life star. Obviously, good booking. Some consistent good booking can change that, but we don't see that often.
Let me ask you your opinion. Do you think Ricochet will be one day a perennial main eventer?
With this current regime, no. Unless they change how.
Do you currently consider AJ Styles a perennial main eventer? Yes.
Kind of. And I mean, he there's the main eventer that will headline
dude, you can throw him in the main event of any pay-per-view. No one's going to go.
He's never in the main event of SummerSlam or WrestleMania.
He never goes on last.
You can't judge it off of that because he was on SmackDown. Now it's different that he's on Raw. Let's see what happens now that he's on Raw. That's not him. That's SmackDown getting the shit on, not him.
Yeah, but is he that larger than
what SmackDown champion ever headlined those pay-per-views?
When I think perennial main eventer, I think
Randy Orton, John Cena,
Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, guys that make a difference.
Now, some of the newer guys, I would argue, what's his name? Roman Reigns, AJ, Daniel Bryan. Seth is just now there, I would say.
I mean, they're in the main events, but I don't think they make a difference as far as network subs or live attendance.
That's not what it is. That's not what I'm saying.
Ratings.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when they're organizing a show and putting a card together, who can you fill in the blank that will close out the show? Who can you do that with? AJ definitely is that. I'm sorry, he is.
They could, but he hasn't.
I think Ricochet will because he was on SmackDown, Raj. That's not an indictment on AJ.
Before they split the brands, he was never on last.
Let me present this. Ricochet
just got there at Monday Night Raw. He was new to Raw and he was a heel on top of it.
And actually, did he with Roman Reigns, he did.
What about him versus Cena?
They never went on last.
Cena wasn't champion when they were fighting.
He was, but so they had the match at SummerSlam. That was Lesnar and Orton. I mean, he would go on last on SmackDown pay-per-views, but not like the big shows is what I'm saying. And
nobody from SmackDown ever closed out those two shows when they would combine the talent rosters.
Except for Becky.
Except for Becky, but you can argue the same with Ronda was on that, and so was.
So I think with Ricochet, he needs a little more on the promo work, and then you give him a good storyline. But let me say this, Matt. I think something like TLC. Okay, so if Ricochet gets up there and he's challenging for the championship, if it's TLC or Hell in a Cell, I could absolutely see Ricochet closing the show because people are going to want to see what crazy shit Ricochet does.
I think he'll be there. I'm saying right now or next year and the year after. I'm saying before it's all done for him, he will be considered a perennial main event talent, in my opinion.
I hope so, but I do think with Vince on top, it's hard to do that. I think he is a superstar. I think he should be. I think if he was booked right, he could be. Again, promos aren't his strong suit. I don't think he should be doing more of those. I think he should be doing less. I think he should be booked as like how a lot of these guys are booked in New Japan, where it's just on their work and they're doing amazing stuff and they're getting wins. And I think that alone would get Ricochet at that next level. But with how they treat guys like him in WWE right now, he'll win a couple weeks and then lose the next 3 and then win a couple. And he just never, and again, it's not just him, it's everyone. Because when we're talking about AJ Styles, there's that big difference between him and Seth and these guys, Daniel Bryan, and then the Cenas and the Ortons and guys from the past.
We shall see. We had this tag match, Ali and Finn versus Andrade and Randy Orton. The faces won. Ali and Finn Balor picking up the victory. Then Randy Orton started RKOing people after. Promos before this, like Andrade speaking extensively. We don't see that normally.
He shouldn't be. He has a manager. They need to use her.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. I mean, Zelina's really good. This was kind of a reminder of why Zelina's there.
Yeah, I think Andrade's trying. His delivery is what it should be, but obviously English is not his first language. He's learning.
And I don't fault him for that at all. But you have Zelina there.
Yeah, exactly. Just leave it completely to her. I don't get why they're
missed opportunity to show why his character is different than the rest of them, and we should be looking out for his manager that could get somehow screw the match up or tip it in his favor.
Yeah, but at the same time, it wasn't long what he did, so it didn't. It wasn't like when they tried to give Asuka those longer promos where it was just dying. It was just something quick. And Zelina's awesome.
Actually,
hang on, sorry, Glenn. This is the same thing I was saying earlier about Alistair Black. It's all about presentation of the character, presentation of the brand you're trying to, again, drum people over the head with until they get what the brand is or get what the character is. They keep selling the characters short by not doing everything they can for those characters to be seen in the best light possible when producing them. Again, that was not him being shown in the best light possible. Him in the best light, his character, his gimmick would have been her speaking. Together, that makes she would have made the package itself look that much better because that is supposed to be the brand between the two of them.
Yeah, or let Andrade cut a Spanish promo. They WWE has a big market of Spanish,
huge.
Speaking. A big portion of their audience speaks Spanish, so it gives the Spanish audience something. They'll think it's cool. It helps them identify more with him, and then you get Zelina doing the English promo.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, so in the segment after this, where they talked about Carmella and Ember Moon being in the match, Ember was referencing that Carmella won the first Money in the Bank match and technically the second due to outside interference. Now that she was alluding to James Ellsworth, Carmella shut that down instantly. But with Zelina, why didn't they make a bigger deal about that? What factor is she going to play into Money in the Bank? Talking about how outside interference has stolen these matches in the past. I think this was just such a layup.
And what you think it would be?
Surprising they didn't go there. So we'll see. I'm assuming next week the women are going to tag.
Probably.
Again,
no qualifying matches. They just announced them. And so most of the matches tonight had no stakes.
Easiest way to fix WWE, let's just get rid of these type of tag matches, of people combining feuds and people that are multi-person matches, these arbitrary pair-ups. Anything else they put on in the place would be better than this. Anything to make it feel like the show you watched, it was important that you watched it because stuff happened. Yeah. After that final segment of the night, Kevin Owens show, Kevin tried to get Kofi and Xavier to come out, brought out action figures of Xavier and Big E. Cutting a promo, I thought it was okay. But again, like we were talking about, it was lacking something, his angle on this. But then Kofi came out and confronted him, ended up attacking him and standing tall as we went off the air. What'd you think of this, Matt?
To be clear, I like what they're doing with KO. I do, for the most part. Better than what they were doing with him when he came back. But it was all right.
Yeah. Okay.
It was fine. The KO's delivery was there, but this is not like a blood feud or anything by any means. Right. You go back and watch some of the old school promos, back in the day with Flair and Terry Funk when they were feuding, or like guys where you really felt like, or Shawn and Brett, just where you felt the heat as opposed to having action figures out there and being cute. It's no intensity.
Especially because Owens has to overcome that he was just in a comedy feud his last run on Raw against Braun Strowman when he was hiding in porta potties.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if this is badass, like who is Kevin Owens now?
Well, he's a chicken shit heel.
Right.
He is. He runs when the face chases him. He's a chicken shit heel, which is fine. It doesn't matter what you are in between your matches. What matters is once your match is in play and it's time to kick it into gear, and you kick it into fifth gear during the heat of your match, that's where you make your money as the heel, by turning like Adrian Adonis, right? adorable Adrian, right? He got made fun of all the time by the fans and got called really horrible slur words and things like that. But when he got heat on his opponent, you weren't saying those things about him anymore. He was a bad mamma jamma by getting it into fifth gear. And that's where I think KO is really excels. He is that good, in my opinion. And that's where we'll see his intensity. I wish we can get it in the promos now between both of them. But then again, it just happened like last week. He jumped home. Like, why would he? There's no real need for him to be intense. He did the jumping. It should be Kofi that should be intensifying him.
And he's got stuff to say, and he's got a good counterpoint too. Now that I think about it, so Kofi
he is a great one.
Well, yeah, so Kofi talks about people that look like him aren't WWE champion. Right. Kevin should talk about, I was told when I was signed to NXT, don't ever expect to go to the main roster.
No, they've done that way too much. I'm sick of that.
When has he done that? When he's done that in his promo? He did that in his documentary.
How many people say that? I was never meant to be here.
What about when he runs to his own body or something?
Yeah, but what he's talking about, Raj, the point of it though, is that he's saying, Kofi, you were here for 11 years before you got your championship moment. I should have night one and beat John Cena. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not throwing pancakes. I'm not doing this. I'm here to fight and win. Yeah,
but not that I need this opportunity. If I hear opportunity or any of those words again, I'm gonna freaking puke. Owens is the heel. Kofi stole his title shot. He wants it, and he's getting it, and he's gonna do what he wants. He should have kicked the shit out of Xavier in this last segment, or done something like that, setting him a match between them next week, where he beats Xavier again, destroys him, where Kofi's banned from ringside, and have him, really get a lot of heat on him.
Yeah,
not like feel any kind of sympathy or anything.
Not sympathy, but something more. What's this feud about?
Kofi stole his title.
Being fought for the title.
Yeah.
He stole his WrestleMania main event.
Yeah, that should have been Kevin Owens with his family. Did you see the videos of me bowling with my family? I'm close to my family too. You're not the only one with a family, Kofi. We all have families. We all eat, sleep, and drink this business to put food on the table for those families. We all make sacrifices for those families. So what makes you so special? Why did you get to take away from my family, from my WrestleMania moment with my family in the ring? Why are you? What makes you so much better than me? You know what I mean? Boom, he would have flipped.
Matt, you should write promos.
Yeah, Matt. So is it just that you make more in your day job? Can the WWE not afford you? Like, what is it exactly?
They have no idea I can cut promos. They have no clue, probably.
I'm just saying, man.
It's not like they're looking for good promos.
Turning the tables, though. You know what I mean? Though, like there was good logic. Jericho was really good at that. He'd put like a nugget of like truth in what he would say, and then just be a dick about it. But I was always like, damn, he kind of has a point here.
Yeah, right. The best heels do have the best villains have a point.
He could have made fun of like his little promo videos that he did, where he was like, bowling and stuff, saying like, I was doing these stupid videos to enjoy these stupid fans, to get that world title match, So you use that, tint of realness, but also have him be a dick to the fans, so they don't turn on him, turn on Kofi either.
Right. Yeah.
It's very strange. So this was a very generic episode of SmackDown. Pretty average. If you missed it, you didn't miss a lot.
I hate this. Yeah.
And Raj, to the news story that you and everyone else, Wrestling Inc. and others are talking about, Raw ratings are plummeting right now. I posit the theory you don't need to watch weekly television anymore. You can just watch the pay-per-views, catch up on social media. You're going to see the animated GIFs. You're going to see the little video clips. Why bother tuning in?
Why watch 3 hours when you could catch up on what happened in about 5 minutes?
We are in a very fast-forward society, aren't we?
Yeah. But, if it's the right show, people aren't watching clips of Cobra Kai or Game of Thrones.
Same with Game of Thrones. I was just going to say, yeah.
Right. If you have an exciting product, people are not just going to watch little clips of it. They're going to want to watch the show. But it's not exciting. It's dull. And they need to fix that. They need to they need to revamp their formula. They need to overhaul their creative and how they treat promos and rivalries and make things matter and mean something. Make sitting through a match make there a reason that you're sitting through this match.
I think they need to really rethink the entire aesthetic of the show itself. Do you know what I mean? From the set design to the ring, maybe to how the camera angles are shot. It just doesn't feel like it's changed much.
I meant to talk about that tonight. That angle when Ali was in the ring. Did you guys notice that before Finn came out? Ali, they used that corner angle with the crowd behind him. It was a little different than what we usually see, but I was like, okay, this looks like a big fight that we're at now. That was cool. That was the one high point tonight for me. Sorry, Raj, you go.
What takes it away is how they have screens everywhere now. Like they're going to probably have screens in the turnbuckles and LED ropes, the next few years. And, you can have a big production feel without all that. You watch a Bellator show or a UFC show. It doesn't feel like low rent. It feels big without being overproduced to where it feels like you're in a video game.
And if they want to overproduce, use pyro again too. Like I always thought that makes stars look like. When I was a wrestler and I got pyro, like when I went to Impact, dude, I was stoked. I was ecstatic over that because I was like, this is part of my presentation now. And now I got to figure out, okay, what can I do now to play off of that pyro, right? So I'd come out, I'd get my robe on, and then I'd pop it off right when the pyro would hit. And I had something different now to do versus just big guy walking to the ring. Hey, what's up? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, to your point, Matt, I just think they need to look around, see what's working in other places, UFC, as far as feuds and rivalries, how those promos with the characters that are working, the ones that aren't working, and really build off of that. And what their promos, Tom Brady is not constantly bragging about how many Super Bowl rings he's won. Having these wrestlers just constantly talking about how many titles they've won, and you just got to rethink that. I don't know. Just a vast overhaul.
Yeah, it feels like I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it. I actually hope it happens. But with like AEW, I hope it forces more I think it's going to force more creativity.
I hope so.
I'm hoping they hit a home run with something that's so different and like almost futuristic. You know what I mean? That it changes wrestling somehow. I don't know what that is. Like, remember when this is a horrible example to use because nothing's ever going to be like this again. But when Scott Hall went to WCW, like, come on, we shit our pants for like a year straight over that. Like, we could not get over like what we just witnessed, something that was real. That, but it was still all part of the magic. It was all part of the act. You know what I mean? And it was such an amazing, special feeling that we all had, right? Like. That thing was on the back page of the damn what was it? What was the New York Post? I'll never forget it. What's the New York? Not New York.
What's it? USA Today, right?
No, it's like the sports paper. What's it called?
Sports Illustrated?
No, it's a news, but it's
Sporting news.
But anyway, it's on the back page of the New York, very, very prominent newspaper in the very back, Daily News.
Oh, okay.
When they turned, and I'll never forget that. I was like, holy, like this is really big news.
Yeah, that 96 to 99, man. Those, as far as a growth period, I mean, the WWE had their highest ratings in 2000. By that period, WCW was dying.
But it just changed everything, though. It changed how the business was done, right?
You look at what a show looked like in 95 and what it looked like 5 years later, and it looked completely different, It's
true. Yeah. I hope for something like that again. I'm not saying I need another shoot angle or this or that. The aesthetic of the show needs to change somehow. I just don't know what it would be.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own opinions on what should change, but something needs to. And they have two shows where they could be trying different stuff out on and not just sticking with what they're always doing.
We got to give them a little bit of credit because for years we told them there's so many great talents out there in the indies that they're never going to sign because they're too small, they're too short, they're not jacked enough, they're not superstar material. We heard all those excuses for so many years. They have changed in that regard in going out there and getting those more diminutive or shorter wrestlers, right?
Diminutive.
But yes, for sure. 10 years ago, they would have never signed Ricochet.
Right. So they're doing good on that aspect, right? But they now need to put the meat on the bone, so to speak, with all of these characters and really get them to become these larger-than-life personas. I don't know how they get them there, but
well, it's like look at movies and TV. You can have the best actors, but if your storyline isn't good and if the characters aren't good, who gives a shit?
That's a good point. How many good actors have we seen that can pull up a really craptastic movie? I've seen that a few times.
More often than not, right? I mean, So I don't know. They got to do something. But Raw pulled its lowest non-holiday rating ever.
Yeah, 2.158. So they're getting dangerously close now to under 2 million viewers, which was thought to be impossible just a couple of years ago. Like they'd never dropped that low. Down 9% from just last week. Last week was 2.375 million viewers. Down 30% from the same week last year. So a gigantic drop from last year. The only two shows that I've ever done lower than this past Monday were this past Christmas Eve and this past New Year's Eve. But those were Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So again, you had like a 20% drop from the first hour to the third. It's just the warning signs are all over the place. It's they've lost nearly 1 million viewers since last year at this point for Raw.
Yeah. So Raj, you were distracted tonight. You had a more interesting time with SmackDown because news was breaking that Brock Lesnar is retiring from UFC or has retired.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar let Dana White know last week that he's retiring from MMA. So he's done with the UFC. So now he had been rumored to fight Daniel Cormier this summer. Obviously, now that's not happening. They're going to make other plans for Cormier. It looks like another fight with Stipe Miocic. So we pretty much know what that means. Lesnar will be back. I'm sure, him being the smart business guy that he is, I mean, we'll see what if he's already got a deal with WWE or if he decides to try to, get some negotiating between AEW and WWE. I don't see that happening. I would guess if he's retiring from MMA, that means he's got something, solid with WWE because that's a big bargaining chip to let go.
Yeah. And lastly, Kurt Angle, what's up with his new role in WWE?
Yeah, so if you guys have not checked out this morning's edition of the Weekly, definitely download it. We got an interview with Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle talked about how he has signed a 5-year contract with WWE, and he's going to be working as a producer, working with talents, helping them with matches and everything like that. And if anyone's followed Kurt Angle's career, I mean, he was a prodigy. I mean, he was great just like a year in.
Amazing with false finishes, too, by the way. He's going to pick up where Pat Patterson left off. Pat Patterson, one of the greatest finish guys of all time. And mark my words, if they give him the ball to close out the show with the agenting the main events, our main events are going to pick up even more because he was amazing at being able to piece together while still being glued to this story, not coming out of the story. Everything being part of the story in the ring and the story that they're telling between the two wrestlers would implement with the best false finishes, dude. I'm telling you, like this is a really big deal for WWE to get him as an agent.
Yeah, it's huge. So, check it out. Check out the whole interview on today's episode of the Weekly.
Nice.
And then also we have an interview on the Weekly with Jenny Decker. So she had a tryout with WWE years ago, got injured by Eva Marie and was never able to wrestle again, but she's been doing all sorts of other sports broadcasts. Yeah.
She was Eva Marie ended someone's career?
No, she just never went back. So
okay.
I don't know if she could have or not. But she's going to be hosting the Double or Nothing weigh-ins at StarCast 2. So she'll be doing the AEW stuff there. So, lots of insight. She compares, her time with WWE and what she sees with AEW, contrast the two. So download it and check it out. It's really interesting stuff.
Nice.
How long was your WWE?
This was, I believe, in 2013. I'll have to double check that, but it was just a tryout period where they had recruited a bunch of people. She was one of the ones. So, yeah. So check that out. Also, one more thing that kind of came right at the end of SmackDown: Killian Dane's going back to NXT. So people have been wondering about him. Alexander Wolf was from Sanity, is back in NXT UK, and now Killian Dane's going back to NXT. So at least he'll have something to do there.
He's I'm sorry, that guy is, in my opinion, he's a great old school heel that could work in today's wrestling. He could. I think he'd be, man, he's the guy you beat right before you get to like the championship level, right around that I'm not saying he should be Intercontinental Champion, but I'm saying right around the Intercontinental Champion level, right? That like before you get to semi-main event, you got to go through a bunch of different people. P.S. Now you got to get through this monster. Like he's great to have on hand, just even for that.
Yep. It's all in the presentation, and if you can present him in that way, I mean, we talked about it. How, that War Games match, that first War Games match in NXT, and he stole the show in that.
Beast.
Yeah. Matt, I don't know if we talked about it, but did you Did you know that they are considering moving SmackDown to 3 hours when they move to Fox?
Of course, ad revenue. Of course. I always wonder why it was only 2 hours to begin with, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
No.
So talk about killing the product fast.
No.
So it would be on FS1 the third hour, whether it's before the show, which makes more sense to me because you'd want the strongest 2 hours on Fox, or after. Because of local news, they can't have 3 hours, so it'd be either before or after. But they're looking at, investor analysts are estimating that WWE would pull in another $25 million from the deal by just adding a third hour.
Only 25?
Well, that's FS1. Which isn't as big as Fox. It has less reach than USA. I know. I still thought it would have been more because an hour of Raw is like I think it's like 89 million for USA with the new deal.
Look at the advertisers that they're getting. I mean, Domino's is offering insurance for pizza droppers again, but
are they? I haven't seen the pizza dropping ads.
Saw the pizza dropping ad tonight, but not exactly top tier on the rest of the sponsors.
It's gotten better. I mean, they got Papa John's. They've got a few, and with Fox, they're going to be getting
what they pay.
What's that?
Who cares who the sponsor is? It's what they pay.
Right. Yeah. And with Fox, they'll be getting more with because they'll be getting publicity for SmackDown on football games and things like that. So
go back and watch the Attitude Era, but specifically the commercials, like who they were being sponsored by. Though, to Glenn's point, there was some monster being sponsored by. Huge brands. I remember one time it was like Cadillac. Another time it was like Snickers, which was really big at the time. PlayStation, like really big brands,
like M&Ms and Snickers. Yeah.
One is what they're paying, also, which factors into play. I would assume USA probably ad rate wise, Chris Lee knows best, probably gets more dollars per viewer than WWE programming does.
Oh,
that Todd Chrisley show that comes on, I bet you they have a higher charge per viewer than WWE.
Oh, for sure. For sure they do. Yeah. Golf probably has like 10 times per viewer that WWE does. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a big test now because their ratings, when they were talking with Fox and when the deal was announced, the SmackDown ratings had stayed steady. Since then, they're down double digits in just that last year. Whereas before, they were like up 3%, down 2%, up 3% for the years prior. So now they're way down. They're still losing viewers. If Fox moves them to FS1, that's going to be a big slap in the face, and that really turns things around with how WWE will be able to negotiate their next TV deal. But for the next 5 years, they're going to be swimming in money, even if they get moved to FS1.
Wouldn't that be funny if Fox pulls a Luke Harper on WWE and is like, nope, we signed the contract. We can do whatever we want with you.
You saw what they did with Impact, right? Impact started off on, Destination America with a prime time slot, and then ROH gets put after them, and then they're moved around. Pop TV kind of did the same thing. So, just because you start off on a time slot doesn't mean that you stay there.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. We'll be back here Monday night, talk about Raw in this continued build up to Money in the Bank. Mr. Matt Morgan, anything you want to plug before we take it home?
No.
Cool. Raj mentioned the interviews on the site. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. You can find me on Twitter @Glenn Rubenstein, and we'll catch you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.